Hi everybody and welcome to Food Friends Family, hosted by me, Chef Paul Lillakas. We continue to make some top-notch dishes and drinks that you can serve your loved ones because let's face it, after 2 years of lockdown, we've forgotten how to cook for more than 1 or 2 people. But before we begin, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to share this video. Ready for a poised plated meal? Today, we're making a seared beef tenderloin with a brown butter sweet potato mash and crunchy snap peas tossed in Gremolata. And of course, there's gonna be a red wine punch to pair. Now, once upon a time, I worked full-time as a private chef. I worked for private clients and I even was the personal chef to one person for a whole year. But I left that all behind. And now, I still love to throw a dinner party and plate my meals professionally. Chefs use a whole arsenal of tricks to make sure all the food gets to the table hot, fresh, and at the same time. Proper preparation is key, and mind your timing. So today, in the interest of timing, we're going to be preparing our dish in stages based on what cooks fastest and how well things keep. So first we'll make our punch, then the mash, then the steak, then the snap peas, and don't forget to warm your plates. That's so important. Now, I love a fruity summer sangria, and this wine punch is just basically another variation on that. Today, we're focusing on flavors like strawberry, orange, and raspberry. So pick a fruity wine like a Pinot Noir or a Merlot, but it doesn't have to be very sweet because we're gonna be adding sweetness along the way. Okay, so into a pitcher, this is my favorite part. I'm gonna add an entire bottle of Merlot. That goes right in. Try not to make a mess. It's faster if you swirl it. Should have done that. All right, and now some raspberry liqueur or raspberry wine, about a cup or so. This will add sweetness and that raspberry note. And some ginger ale. If you like it really sweet, use ginger ale. If you like it not so sweet, just sub in some sparkling water. That'll work just as well. And we're getting lots of sweetness from the wine and from the liqueur. And now some fruit. Of course, some sliced strawberries. Those go in. A good amount, about 2 cups. And orange slices. About 1 whole orange sliced into nice wedges. And now, oh, I've forgotten my spoon. Just 1 second. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to just give that a nice stir, and this could be done 2 nights before, a night before, 2 hours before. The longer you let it sit, the better. That flavor from the orange peel and the strawberries really comes out into it. So set this in the fridge, and then right before we serve it, we're gonna add the ice. Never want to cook your steaks from fridge cold. Letting them come up to room temperature will give you a better crust and help them cook more evenly. So let's season these up. Okay, so we are going to sprinkle liberally with sea salt. Slightly more than you think you need because we'll lose some of that to the pan. And lots of cracked black pepper. And a nice neutral oil. Notice I'm oiling the steaks, not the pan. Okay, now we'll do the other side. By salting them now, we'll get a nicer crust. A little pepper on this side, and just a touch more oil. And now I'll just set these over on the counter for about 45 minutes or until we're ready to cook. Moving on, we're going to start with our sweet potato mash. Now we're starting with this because these can easily just be made and sit for hours and hours. You can even do this the day before. So it starts with my sweet potatoes. I've already peeled these, and I'm just going to chop them up, rough chop. Now into some cold water. And we're going to bring that up to a boil on high heat, reduce to a simmer, and simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes or until they're tender. In the meantime, we're gonna make a brown butter to add to our sweet potato mash. By just browning that butter a little bit, letting those milk solids toast, you're gonna add a beautiful layer of flavor to this dish. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients, but it's superb. Okay, so the secret to this sweet potato mash is brown butter. All it is butter melted in a little saucepan and browned just until those milk solids toast and it smells nutty. So into my pan, I'm gonna add a half a cup. I know, seems like a lot, but it's worth it, trust me. Half a cup of unsalted butter. And now I'm just going to melt it, scraping the bottom. You don't wanna walk away here. Just until it starts to become lightly golden. And then you want to remove it because it'll keep cooking a little bit more once you remove it from the heat and get to that perfect sort of medium golden color. You can smell it, it's starting to brown. It becomes nutty. It smells like toasted nuts. See, especially along the bottom, it's hard to see because it does foam up a bit, so you got to keep that moving. And you can start to see just in the bottom those little brown bits. I'm going to turn it right down because the residual heat from the pan will keep doing this work. Don't walk away, just like I say. Okay, so we've got nice brown bits at the bottom. I'm going to remove it completely from the burner, let it continue. We're also going to season it up. So, good pinch of sea salt. And remember, we can taste, we can add, we can't take away. Okay, that's great. So I'll just leave that. I'm tempted to. Just. It was a good idea. Even that hurt. Okay, great. That's done. So now that that's done, we can move on to another part of our prep. Let's make our Gremolata another flavorful ingredient that can just sit and wait till it's ready to use. So this is a really rustic sauce. I'm just gonna. Sorry. So just a good bunch of Italian parsley, some fresh lemon, some garlic, and some anchovy fillets in oil. These ones are from Italy. I'm just gonna run my knife through this parsley, chop it nicely, run through it, get some of that anger out. A little bit of lemon zest, so not too much. I don't want this to be very lemony. This is just, again, an accent flavor, so maybe half a lemon's worth. And don't shave it too deep because you get any of that pith in there, it's going to be bitter. That zest goes right on in. Some garlic. I love garlic, so maybe 2 cloves, 3 cloves, depending on the size. Just give those a little crush. And I love to grate garlic because it sort of melts into whatever you're cooking. All right, so just get that peel off. One of my all-time favorite tools in the kitchen, my microplane zester. You could also use a garlic press, or you could just mince this. All right, so you see, it's just like a beautiful paste that goes right on in. Okay, and now about 5 or 6 of these beautiful anchovy fillets. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm gonna run my knife through these, and I want them to also sort of just melt into this. I don't want anyone getting big chunks of anchovy. Don't forget to check on your potatoes. I can see they're starting to boil. Oh yeah, whoa, mamma mia. Okay, turn that down. Turn that down to a simmer just until they're tender. Then come back to what we're doing. Okay, that goes right on in. And now we're just going to give that a nice stir. And if I was making this, normally I might add a little bit of olive oil, but because we're using butter here, it's going to go into our pan with our butter and come together at the last second with the heat of those sugar snap peas. Okay, and I'm just going to throw my butter right on in, and then this will all just get scraped into the pan when the time comes, and that can just sit nicely and wait until we need it. All right, now let's check on our sweet potatoes. I think these are done. Yeah, they look totally done, but we're gonna give them the fork test. That's perfect. So the fork goes nicely in. Oh, see, they're even falling apart. So I know these are ready to be drained. I'm just gonna take them to the sink, get rid of all that excess water. Nice steamer over here. Yeah, that looks perfect. All the water's gone. Now all we have to do is combine it with our brown butter and mash it up. So my brown butter is ready to go. Definitely use a rubber spatula. You don't want to waste any of it. I'm gonna drizzle that right over top. Look at all those brown bits. That's where that flavor is. And now I just like to use a whisk to get in there and mash it up. Okay, and one way we can check the consistency is by just running our spatula through it. You see, it's nice, it's smooth. Let's give it a taste. It's delicious. Just a sprinkle of salt. Gotta balance that sweetness. All right. And what I love about this is now this can just sit until you need it. You can make it the day before. Unlike traditional mashed potatoes that kind of get stodgy in the fridge, this stays nice, creamy, smooth, and comes right back to life when you reheat it. My two favorite pans in the kitchen are my cast iron skillet and my non-stick skillet. My cast iron skillet, nice heavy bottom I use for searing meats, getting a nice crust on steak. Try making a pie in one of these for the crispiest crust you can imagine. Whereas I use my non-stick skillet for everyday cooking, for sauteing vegetables, and I try to keep it nice, clean, unscratched for cooking delicate things that are susceptible to sticking. Something like an omelet, for example. Try cooking that in anything other than a nice, fresh, non-stick skillet and you're doomed from the beginning. Keep your cast iron skillet nice and oiled. Protect your pans. These are your best friends in the kitchen. Okay, now my favorite part. It's time to cook the steak. Look at these. They're so beautiful. So we're gonna use our cast iron skillet for this one. You want it nice and preheated, just smoking a little bit. And of course, we want everything that we're gonna need right here. Mise en place. We need our final resting place. That sounds morbid. We need our place where our steaks are going to rest. We need our butter, our garlic, our thyme, and my digital probe thermometer. This is the most important tool for cooking meat properly. I never cook steaks without it. It makes it foolproof, and you don't want to be messing around with expensive cuts of meat like this. Okay, so our pan is preheated, and we're gonna go right in with our steaks. I'm gonna start with the largest one at 12 o'clock. Okay, now it's gonna get smoky, so make sure your hood fan is on. Funny story, one time I was teaching a virtual cooking class and I smoked the whole house out. I had to do it kind of in a space where I didn't have the hood fan. In the middle of the class, I'm running around trying to rip the smoke alarms off the ceiling. It was a nightmare. Also, another misconception, flip your steak once. That has been disproven time and time again. So, a better way to do it, continuously flip your steaks. Flip them every 30 seconds to a minute. At the beginning, it feels weird. It feels like, oh, those weren't ready to flip. But they cook more evenly, they cook more quickly, and they develop a better crust. So don't walk away. You're here the whole time. Okay, so you see, even just with a few turns, we're already developing a nice brown crust that's gonna get even better. Don't be afraid to take the temperature of your steaks many times. You're not gonna hurt it. We're looking for an internal temperature of about 110 for a medium rare. And at that point, we're going to butter baste it. So we're not even close yet. But just keep this around. I keep it right here in my pocket when I'm grilling. It's getting beautiful. And this is why you want to use your cast iron skillet for this. It holds that residual heat and gives you a beautiful crust. Okay, let's give them another flip. All right. Check out that crust. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Very happy with that. And also, when you're entering the meat thermometer, you want to make sure you're not going too far into it, too close to the pan. You want to go to the thickest part because that's how you get the most accurate reading. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's do it. So now, in with our butter. We're going to finish these with a butter base. So I've got some butter, a few crushed cloves of garlic, some thyme sprigs, and a little bit of salt added to that butter. We're gonna melt that. Get that thyme in there. You want that to infuse the butter. Push those steaks to one side. And now we're just going to baste with that butter right over top, just like that. Beautiful, look how they glisten. And this will finish the cooking process. So after just a couple of minutes, we'll be right there and these will be ready to rest. And we'll have a beautiful sauce that we could drizzle on the plate. And I have my plate here where I'm gonna rest these. Certainly my little guys are gonna come out first. Awesome. Okay, so those are coming out. I'm gonna take this off the heat. Hit these with just a little bit of fresh pepper. Okay, now we're just gonna leave these to rest. So sometimes I like to just throw them in the oven, a nice place where they can stay nice and warm and rest and relax. And in the meantime, we're gonna prepare our Gremolata sugar snap peas. Final step, let's prepare our snap peas. We're right about to plate. I've got a steaming pan here, just about a centimeter or even less of water. And we're just gonna give these a quick steam. I've already cleaned these sugar snap peas. Give them a little shake. Lid on, easy. And these are gonna steam for a minute, minute and a half, just until they brighten up a little bit. Snap peas have a way of overcooking very quickly, so I wanna keep a little bit of that crunch, just get them to brighten up, and then we'll hit them with that Gremolata butter, and then it's time to plate. Okay, that's it. Quick steam, and now straight to the sink where I'm going to just drain that water out. All right. Now, in with our butter and our Gremolata. Oh, you could smell all those flavors. You can see the colors just popped on those peas. Okay, that's it, done. Okay, it's time for plating. So if I'm doing this in my home, I have my plates perfectly warmed, nice and hot from the oven, and I'm laying them all out so that I have my work surface prepared. I have all my components here, and let's get going. So I'm gonna start with a bed of my sweet potato mash. Okay, and now onto there, we have our snap peas. Let's go right on top, just like that. And now our steaks. So I'm gonna take our pan with all these beautiful juices, give that a nice stir, and we're gonna just drizzle a little bit over top of our steaks. Okay, and now our steaks are gonna go right on top, just like that. Little medallions. You could also slice these, but they're still nice and warm, just like that. And then we're gonna garnish these. Now, I like to garnish certainly with something that complements the dish. Today, you can get beautiful sprouts, sprouts that bring a little bit of heat, radish sprouts, arugula sprouts. So you don't have to do this, but just a little bit of that, just around, gives that plate just a little freshness, a little beauty. We'll fix that. All right, and one last drizzle of this beautiful pan sauce, and these are ready to go out to the table. All right, now I know you love how this looks, but if you need more ideas, you have to check out my good friend designer Sarah Gunn's series, Tablescapes. Between my recipe ideas and her table setting tips, we've got you covered for a picture-perfect summer. And there you have it, beautiful seared beef tenderloin, snap peas with Gremolata butter, and sweet potatoes with brown butter in a beautiful mash, and of course, this red wine punch. Let's give that a try. So good, it's so refreshing, it's sweet, it's fruity. Now, I gotta try this. Of course, I always keep knife and fork handy, so let's get in there. Want a little bit of everything. my God, you guys have got to try this. It's so good. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and please share this video. Now, I'm gonna take a couple of these. I'm gonna head off.
How is it?
It's delicious. Yep, I like it.
How's it going there?
It's magic.
It's a beautiful thing. Oh yeah.
She takes it.